We always try and work out who are the main winners and losers from any budget. This time round, it's a bit odd to be talking about winners in the midst of a pandemic-induced lockdown. Certainly the companies that are currently in hibernation and the people that work for them will be breathing a big sigh of relief that furlough has been extended into the autumn.
The government is proud of the furlough, one of the most generous schemes in the world.
The support, both in furlough and in other measures, is generous. And in the Chancellor's words, he's gone long. The government will still be providing help well beyond the end of lockdown. There's also more support for home buyers who don't have a big enough deposit, and the stamp duty holiday has been extended and its reintroduction will be tapered, and that will help the housing market, hopefully.
As the Prime Minister has said, we want to turn generation rent into generation buy.
Amongst the losers, well, clearly companies, large companies especially, are going to have to pay a high rate of tax in order for the government to pay down some of the debt that it's borrowed to pay for all of the measures that have kept the economy going.
But the damage done by coronavirus, combined with a level of support unimaginable only 12 months ago, has created huge challenges for our public finances.
Higher rate taxpayers will also suffer a hit in real terms. The higher rate threshold is going to be frozen and therefore won't match inflation. So although they're not paying more, they will in real terms be paying more tax. There are similar freezes to inheritance tax, pensions relief, capital gains tax and the VAT registration threshold. It seems to me though that the real losers in this budget are adherents to the worldview advocated by the likes of Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher. Their belief is that the best thing the state can do is just get out of the way of business. And I reckon that Sunak was signalling higher taxes and a higher role for the state out as far as the eye can see. The big state is back.
How we balance the extraordinary support we are providing to the economy right now with the need to begin the work of fixing our public finances.
Rishi Sunak was trying to do a number of things in this budget. In fact, it looked a lot like multitasking in steroids. Felt to me like watching a man patting his head, rubbing his tummy whilst riding a unicycle on a tightrope and simultaneously trying to knock up a cordon bleu meal. By my count, there are at least 5 main themes to this budget. First, he was acknowledging that the economy is still in lockdown and pledging to support workers and businesses until we've opened up again and even beyond. Second, he was pointing to the light at the end of the tunnel, thanks to the vaccine rollout, and laying the groundwork to boost the recovery. Thirdly, he was reminding everyone that the UK has borrowed an awful lot of money over the past 12 months and starting to sketch out how he wants to get the nation's finances back in order.
But I do want to be honest about what I mean by sustainable public finances and how I plan to achieve them.
Fourthly, he was paying fealty to Boris Johnson's levelling up agenda. And fifthly, he was attempting to bolster the government's green credentials and help flesh out plans for achieving net zero. The issue, as always with multitasking, is whether in attempting to do too many things, you fail to do the most important things well enough. The newest stuff for me came in the aspect of the speech that dealt with boosting the recovery.
I can announce today that we will provide a new Restart grant in April to help businesses reopen and get going again.
There are going to be restart grants for non-essential retail and the leisure industry, and a new recovery loan scheme to replace the bounce back and Sybil's loans that have been in place during the pandemic. This suggests that Sunak doesn't necessarily subscribe to the view that has been best articulated by Andy Haldane, the chief economist of the Bank of England, which is that the UK economy is a coiled spring ready to bounce back. The Chancellor clearly thinks it will need a little bit of help getting back onto its feet. But there was also precious little mention of the UK's second biggest issue after the coronavirus pandemic, and that's poor productivity. The need to address this is now both chronic and acute. There will also be worry that Sunak's focus on tax rises, albeit some way off, may hamper the recovery.
These are significant decisions to have taken. Decisions no Chancellor wants to make.
The mere mention of fiscal tightening may be enough to alter investor and consumer behaviour and stop them from spending money as much as they might. We must all hope not.